Hey there, welcome to another Chromebook unboxing. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Acer 311-1H-C90F. This device has an Intel dual-core N4500 processor, 64 gigs of storage, and 4 gigs of RAM. Very smooth all the way around. There's no rubberized edges or anything. I do notice they raised the back feet pads here and made a little nodule here for lifting the back up, just giving the device a little bit of an angle for typing on. That's nice. No magnetic clipping lid there. Let's take a look at the ports. We have USB-C charging on this side, audio port for headphones, and a USB-A port here. And then the other side has no ports, so a little lacking on the connectivity here. Let's power it on and take a look. The power adapter, all one piece, so no separate cable here. 36 watt adapter. That's a relatively low power for Chromebooks. We usually don't see them needing any less than 45 watt. It's also not a very long adapter. If I had to guess, I would say it's about 5 feet. Oh, guys, I went to the wrong side. All right, it booted up faster than I thought it would. I was a little worried with the processor, but everything seems fine. Keyboard feels fine. The screen, it looks crisp and clear to me. Hinges feel sturdy. There's no bounce when I let go. Maybe a little there, but feels good enough. No rubberized edges on the device. It does look like it's going to be pretty easy to get in some of these grooves and take this apart. So let's turn it off and open it up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 11 screws on the bottom. How easy is this going to be to get off here? Very easy. Nice. All right. What do we have going on inside here? All right, it looks like I can get to nearly everything. After I take this battery out, I could even take out this sideboard here. But other than this daughter board, everything looks removable without a whole lot of issue. It looks like you do have to take these hinges out in order to get access to the motherboard, which isn't a big deal. The hinges are held in by 2 screws in the bottom. I think usually we see at least 3 on the bottom here. No reinforcement brackets over the ports here either. It looks like they use the hinge up here to reinforce the USB-C charging port. One thing I notice is the heatsink here seems to have just a large metal piece here that doesn't have any ventilation near it. So the bottom cover doesn't have any vent slots. There's no fan in this device. So it seems that this chunk here is simply to absorb heat over time. So this might get warm with a lot of use. I see we've grounded the LCD by the LCD cable here to the hinge here. So this is going to be really important. They wouldn't have done this if it wasn't necessary. So when repairing this model, I think this is something people will have to pay close attention to, this tape screwing directly into this hinge. Let's take a look at the LCD. These are some tough clips around the top here. All right, there we go. That's easier now down this side. I think that sounded worse than it actually was. So I thought this was going to be the same 11-inch LCD we see in all these devices, and it might be, but we definitely have different brackets. So that's these brackets, top and bottom, with these small little tabs. That's not usually what we see in these 11-inch devices. And I doubt they're hard to come by, but they're definitely not the most common LCD. Let's look behind this. Looks like we have a basic 30-pin connector here. And taking a look at the hinges here, they don't go up the sides of the device here, which isn't a huge deal because we do see at least 3 screws here, nice wide top screws. So they got that right on the back cover. We do see grounding tape across the back in 4 different places, but not a huge deal to replace this LCD. That would be pretty easy. So that's the Acer 311-1H-C90F. So things I don't really like, the fact that there's no rubberized edging here and the lack of ports, having only one USB-C port and one USB-A port. Also, the fact that we can't remove the keyboard here. Not a huge issue for repairability. This palm rest is still going to be very easy to swap out. But if something happens to a couple keys and bracket, you would have to replace the whole palm rest instead of just being able to pull the keyboard itself out. Things I do like, how easy this device is to open up, how nearly every component in the device can be replaced without having to remove another component, aside from maybe the back cover here, which looks like it has quite a bit of cabling to run. Overall, I'm going to give this device a 3 out of 5 for usability. And for repairability, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. If they would have done a little bit better job with the routing of the cables and made that a little bit easier and allowed you to replace just the keyboard, that would have brought this up to a 5 out of 5. Other than that, it's going to be very easy to replace components in this device. Well, thank you for joining us for this Chromebook unboxing. We'll see you next time.